Yeah.
The thing I love about where I live, I'm only. You've been to? Have you been? I know you've been to Hawaii. Have you been to Kauai before?
Yeah, that's our honeymoon. Yeah.
Okay, where did you guys? Or what resort were you guys at?
Check this out. We were at Princeville.
Oh, nice place.
We're getting sun just for a second here. See, this is. Mm,
And folks,
oh,
oh, the picture of the honeymoon.
my lovely wife and I on our honeymoon at Princeville in Kauai.
Nice. How long ago was that?
That was last year. Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. She just, I'm proud of her. She just finished a competition and she's submitting for Shape magazine to the cover. So it's fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, folks, I'm gonna just kick the podcast off. This is actually maybe you might want to see my face because it'll look like a bad Chinese overdub if you see John. Hey, folks, this is Antonio Perez with Hypnosis Product Reviews, and most people they know that anything to do with hypnosis, I love it. Anything to do with sales and marketing. Most of the podcasts I've done have been about hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. My other huge interest and what I would consider a hobby now is marketing. And I believe that marketing and hypnosis, NLP, persuasion, same exact thing. Same exact thing. Today I'm interviewing Jon Benson, a pretty damn good copywriter. Basically, the job description I would say with copywriter is basically somebody that writes words that get cash. That's the simplest way of putting it.
Yeah, my wife was that one. So she came up with that tagline. So it's.
I think I did lift that from your page. I see this stuff all the time. Now, if
Yeah.
you don't mind me asking, how exactly did you get into the world of marketing?
Desperation, really. I wrote my first book in, well, I guess 10 years ago because it's 10-year anniversary of it this year, and
That fit over 40, right?
over 40, yeah, fit over 40. So 10 years ago, man, it's hard to believe. So, and it did really, really well when we launched it because Tom Venuto did a lot of the in fact, all the copywriting, and Tom. I didn't know anything about marketing at all back then as far as copy goes. I was a good writer, but I didn't know anything about writing copy. And for my second book, I decided, well, I'm not going to give away half my profits this time, and I wanted to see what I could do. And it was through that process that I just didn't look at anyone else's stuff. I just went into all the psychology training I've done, NLP training I've done, and just decided I would just write like how I think it would be persuasive, and ended up creating a video sales letter. That was the first one. So, and that's how it started.
I remember hearing your story about the first video sales letter. Wasn't it kind of like like the accidental discovery? Almost like a lot of scientists have the accidental discovery.
Yeah, it was the ultimate accidental discovery. As I just keep my leg up here and relax. Yeah, total. People think I'm making up as a great story, but it's absolutely the truth. It's I mean, I had a decent sales page. It was like at the time 1%, which is like the gold standard at the time, and I wanted to see if I could beat it. And I was doing these YouTube videos, and since I'm into fitness, and I was doing a lot of fitness-based YouTube videos. Not like Mike Chang is doing now, but more like just instructional, like talking about nutrition, because I come from a nutrition perspective. And I was getting all this negative feedback and positive feedback, but it was feedback about me. It wasn't feedback about what I was saying. It was like, for you're too big, you're too small, I like your hair, you're cute, you got a big nose, what the fuck, all that kind of stuff. It's just all over the map. So I decided to take me out of it.
A bunch of noise.
Yeah, exactly. So when I took myself out of it, I it changed everything. It was like, I decided to take myself out of it and just put words on a screen. And when I did, my conversions went up by 600%. And I thought, so to the video. So I decided to do a sales page that way. And then those conversions went up 100% as well. So, and that's how it started. It was really totally accidental. And then I wrote the one for Mike Geary, which is still live today, for Truth About Abs, and then it just skyrocketed after that.
Oh, he's doing real good.
Yeah, Mike's a good friend, and he's been around for a long time. Hey, it feels like we got another beach view going on here. It's awesome, man. So,
yeah. Say hi real quick. Hey, Evan, wave for the camera.
Hey guys, Evan Chacker. I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii, another island
Ah,
out in
cool.
Hawaii.
Nice.
President of American Fitness Institute, another fitness company.
Cool. Cool, man. That's good to meet
I'm, I'm, I'm the scrawny one out of the group.
you. Well, yeah. So the thing kind of took off, and so yeah, I wrote Truth About Abs, and after that it was just kind of nuts. So I did Pimsleur, and then after that there was this. I decided to write it. I taught Ryan Dice how to do shit, and then after that, Ryan Dice came out with a product about it. So, yeah,
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
yeah, yeah. That's all right. It's all good.
No, I like the little Jeff. You said that you were trained in NLP. Where did you get your training from?
The library.
A lot of sit
Mm,
down and just reading and reading nonstop.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's a psychology minor, and then I met a guy in college that turned me on to this weird guy named Richard Bandler, which you might have heard of, and he went down and studied with Bandler, and then I studied with him. So I never met Richard, but I got the gist of it from him. And then I got into Tony Robbins back in the late '80s and '90s, and I was just a kid back then, but I got into what he was saying, and a lot of it was NLP. So that's kind of got cemented in my head as far as how to converse, how to best converse with people for persuasion, but also just for life, because I don't use NLP for manipulation. I just like to think of it as a great way to reach somebody at where they're at, as opposed to talking around them or talking at them. So for me, it's a big thing to speak their voice. In other words, I use that phrase a lot. Speak your customer's voice, and it's difficult to do. But the ultimate sales copy is not clever. It's speaking the language that they're hearing in their head. So if you woke up this morning and you said to yourself, "Man, I really wish I could get bigger arms," and I came on a video sales and said, "Hey, have you ever said to yourself, man, I wish I could get bigger arms?" And you go, "Fuck yeah, I said that this morning, man." I wouldn't have to. You were sold right there. And so enough of those kind of phrases, and you've got a winning VSL or sales page, but you don't have to read minds to do that. There's patterns that people follow. If you speak in the same patterns, that's what it is.
About the speaking the voice, going through Andre Chaperone's tiny little business program, and he's real big about, even with his autoresponder madness, he's real big about figuring out who your audience is,
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out like their pain points and like what kind of the things they're actually saying to themselves. And when you can relay that back to them, you're right. It's like they have this epiphany, like, oh my god, this guy knows me on some level.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the bad copy. If I can start by, if we're talking persuasion, we could talk hypnosis. It's all about persuasion, but persuasion is not a negative thing, right? Like if your house was on fire, you would want me to persuade you to get out. If you were asleep, you would want me to persuade you by waking you the fuck up so you could get out, right? Right.
True.
So it's what I get across to every single person that's got a fear of selling. It's like, man, if you got a fear of selling or you get a fear of persuasion, not only are you in the wrong business, obviously, but you're also doing your customers a disservice if you have a product that's worth a shit. So for the people that have great products, if you have a great fitness product, and we have many, I think I've got the best product in the world for video sales letters. I started it, it should. Then I would be doing myself a disservice to say, oh yeah, you can get it if you want, or if you don't, that's cool. Yeah, whatever. Or some weak ass form of marketing, or some cheesy form of marketing. It just isn't. It's not serving my customers well because they need this stuff. They make millions off of it.
The late great, Milton Erickson, he said something along the lines of manipulation. He's like, look, we all manipulate. The baby shits itself, he's gonna cry to manipulate you to change your diaper.
Right.
If you go to a restaurant and you'll have a whole tip system where you're basically manipulating the server to give you better service because they know if they give you better service, they get a better tip.
Right. Right.
Just make sure you're trying to get benefit to both parties.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Manipulation has a connotation of being a one-way street, right? Like you're manipulating only for your benefit versus what I think of persuasion, and this is my own definition of it. Persuasion is the skillful art of manipulation to get both ends achieved. In other words, the customer or the friend or the wife or whatever has a need, and you have a need, and you say the best way to approach that is to speak her language or his language, and meet their needs so that they meet yours, and you guys both have come out with a win. So that's persuasion for me. For other people, it might not be that way, but like I've been approached many times to write copy for crap I won't do. I mean, like, yeah, we've got this, we got this weight loss pill, name the weight loss pill. You get all kinds of acai berry crap and all that stuff, and yeah, I just wouldn't do it because it just doesn't work, right? So I've written copy for stuff that does work like that, but most of it doesn't. So that's a lot of the persuasion guys will do anything to persuade anybody to give them money, and that's just not where I'm at. I don't think you have to be there.
I'm sure you've had people wanting you to make a video sales letter with what's his name, Dr. Oz, promoting all the miracle coffee.
Yeah, well, it's funny because one of my business partners, she's just an awesome doctor, and she's a really good friend. I've known her for 15 years, and she was on Dr. Oz. So when I wrote her sales page, I said, "As seen on Dr. Oz," because she was actually on Dr. Oz, and she talked about the stuff she was talking about on Dr. Oz, and she's on the doctors and all that stuff. And so, yeah, that's different. But Dr. Oz that gets on and says, he uses what he called flowery language. Flowery? Is that what he used? Language? Flowery? Yeah. That's what he said in front of the congressional hearing. Yeah. So, yeah, I use really, because he kind of was right in the sense that people are bombarded by so many different messages they really need to hear. Then you hear something will move them to take action. But what an idiot for not owning the products he was selling, because as you know, like an affiliate can go out and say, yeah, this will cure cancer, make your balls bigger, and make you $1 million overnight. Take this pill. It's all, and people will buy it. I mean, never underestimate the stupidity of people. Otherwise, CPA networks would be broke, right?
There are people spending cash on useless stuff.
The worst. I mean, just go on Facebook as you have, and just see how many people post random pictures of stupid people doing stupid things, and you got to understand that's not the minority, that's the majority, and that's the sad truth. And so, copywriters have to take that into consideration while still being ethical, in my opinion, and still saying I'll always say, look, if you're expecting a magic solution for something, then you go Google ripmeoffrightnow.com and you'll enjoy that page or something. Yeah. But if you're wanting something that's actually going to work, then yeah, you're going to have to get off your fat ass and do something about it. But this is just the easiest way to do it. So that's a parenthetical way of saying what I say. Yeah. It's the same thing with video.
And it's that takeaway.
Yeah. So it's. Speaking to the pain points, I think, is a really great conversation to have, because, as you probably know, your motivation cycle is 75% pain, 25% pleasure, roughly. And people are different, but across the board. So you're 3 times more likely to click on something that says, "Help me, I'm dying," versus "I really want to get better." And I had a conversation with 2 of my very best friends who are just geniuses in the relationship department. And in 30 minutes, I created a couple of headlines that I think are going to be or stick out everywhere. And I created those headlines based around the impending doom of a relationship, but I also backed it off a little bit because knowing that they're just very, very positive people. So we came up with this angle, and this is how, copywriters, if you guys are wanting to write persuasion, think of something that would scare the living shit out of somebody, but also something that would also help them if they knew it. So, 3 signs that you're having a heart attack is a great headline. Because 3 hidden signs you're having a heart attack is even better. 3, little known signs. And so the obvious sign is crushing chest pain. The not so subtle sign you might not know about is you have a pain right here in your jaw or something like that, right? So the same thing goes for relationships or for any other product. So we were looking for the things that people aren't quite aware of, that they want, but they don't really know that they want it, but they're thinking it every day. So I said one of the things that and this is psychology, knowing human nature, one of the things that people want to do is to convince someone to do something, because we're talking about persuasion. So I came up with a headline, and it was get him to change his mind with these 7 magical words. And so it's just very simple. 7 clever words that will get him to say yes. and yeah, that's very positive, right? But it's positive, but it's tapping on. This is where I want to go with this. It's tapping on a pain threshold, because it's suggesting that when the person woke up and said, "God damn it, I wish I could get him to take out the garbage. He keeps saying no," or "I wish I could get him to commit," or "I wish I could get him to stop seeing my best friend." So I'm speaking to that pain by saying, "Here's 7 clever words that will make him say yes to whatever you want." And so it was like an instant hit, right? That's called an induction state, by the way. It's like, so I use my own terminology. NLP has its own. I call it induction states. So there's 4. I have 4 different states of induction when I walk somebody through a process of getting them to make a micro commitment, like clicking on that headline would be a micro commitment. And then we walk through like the 4 states I use is misdirection, validation, what I call equalization, and then distraction. Those are like 4 different ways of snapping someone's attention. Pattern interrupts, some people call them. I call them pattern interrupts. But so that was a pattern interrupt to say, wow, there's like these magical words that will make somebody say yes, but that sounds very positive, but it's tapping on a pain point. So that's a way to be positive while at the same time inferring pain. Where our other headlines were 7 hidden signals that let you know he's leaving you, or let you know he's cheating on you, or let you know he's lying to you. So they're going to get a lot of clicks on that. The 7 hidden body language signals. That stuff that people that's going to make someone click. So if I said 7 ways to know that he's cheating on you, that would get good clicks. If I said 7 secretive body language giveaways that let you know he's cheating on you, it's even better. Because I'm making this up off the top of my head, but it's even better because it's implying something that you don't know. Body language, what is that? Like his shoulders are turned the wrong way, that means he's cheating on me? It's very curiosity based, right? But it's extremely...
It's got that vagueness.
Yeah, it's vague, but it's also very painful. I mean, just to think about, and so anyway, so this was a 30-minute conversation where we wrote down like 30 different headlines and different approaches, and some of them were just statements that someone would make, like, he just doesn't listen to me. It's a great headline. Okay, that's an all pain. There's nothing there. There's no benefit in that headline at all. And so that's what the one thing I learned from not listening to guys who I idolize now, John Carlton, Gary Benzavenga, Gary Halbert, all the great copywriters, is I didn't listen to the fact that their headlines were always benefit driven. I didn't listen. So I at one time I was teaching that, and then I thought, wait, some of the greatest headlines in the world have no benefit in them at all. And the most famous I can think of is the old Volkswagen ad that came out in the 50s that just said lemon. It's one of the most famous ads in history. Well, you just have to read it, right? And it's like, what? It's like, it's a pattern interrupt, right? So a headline, if it's a pattern interrupt, and a video seller is even better for this, will scratch someone's pattern and get them to go, what? I have to pay attention to this. And that's really where we're going with persuasion and getting someone to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah. Now that I see all these video headlines, I see a couple of them. It's like, warning, this fish, blah, blah, blah. Most of that stuff was your direction, wasn't it? That's what I thought. It's like, there's one, I'm not going to say the word. I'm not going to say the word, but there's the one. It's like, hey guys, this is a lady magnet. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Very graphic.
Yeah. He's also a good friend of mine. So yeah, that was my fault. Sorry, guys. It's made $800 million for people over the last 5 years. So that pattern interrupt style has made $800 million, close to $1 billion in revenue for other people. I wish I could say it all came through my company. It'd be great. But yeah, the first pattern interrupt was this is a magic jacket, and then the second one was along that line. This is and then the really famous one that really hit it big. This magic jacket was huge. I mean, on for weight loss. And then this is a fish for Josh Pellissier at Dow, badass. Josh, he's like my little brother, so it's like having him. He literally sat down with me and said, I'm happy to map out this course that you want to teach. I already taught it, but I was making it into a software. And he's really good with this stuff. He's really good with systems. So he sat down with me and helped me draw it out. And he goes, dude, because he was totally broke. I mean, the guy had like $50 to his name. I'm not making this shit up. And, I'm like, dude, you can stay here. We got 5 fucking rooms here, take a pick, right? And he's like, nah, man, it's like, I don't take advantage of you. Just teach me how to do this. I go, well, stop thinking about it and just follow this formula. And he went home and came back over the weekend with, this is a fish, and this fish is going to secret to getting you laid. And it just took off, and they made $10 million a month or whatever they made. So yeah, it's just amazing what a pattern interrupt can do. It's really clever, and his writing was really good. But he just followed the formula. And I'm not saying this; he'll tell you he does on video. He says the same thing. But so now the problem is, and this is what I would really love to talk about. The problem is that style of pattern interrupt has gotten a little bit used. Hi, my name is blank, and this is a blank, and in a few minutes you'll discover why blank is the secret to blank. That's been used so much now because 3X has got thousands of customers. So, so what I wanted to do, and I'm going to do next week, is I'm going to make a video for my posse. And I'm also going to give it to the Cult of Copy guys just because I think Colin's a badass and I love his stuff. So I'm going to give away for free. There's 5 different pattern interrupts that I've been using lately that use this induction stuff that works just as well as, hi, this is blank and this is a blank, whatever the random thing is. And that still works, by the way. Harlan Kilstein called me up the other day and said, dude, I saw your post in Cult of Copy and pattern interrupts still work, man. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, yeah, they work when they're good, Like, yeah. I started, there's a weight loss video that's coming out that when you see it, you'll know, that starts off with this cartoon, and this guy gets stung by a bee, and it goes, have you ever been stung by a bee? I mean, it's like, what the fuck does that have to do with losing weight, right? And so I go into this thing, and it's like, did you realize the foods that you're eating, even especially the healthy foods, are causing what I call a bee sting reaction? And they're causing you to look like you're gaining weight even when you're not. So I'm going to explain that. So I've just got somebody hooked, because what am I talking about, right? So it's a histaminic reaction. So that's a buddy of mine's letter that I wrote. And so that's a pattern interrupt that doesn't say, hi, I'm blank, but it does start off with something very odd. Have you ever been stung by a bee? So almost everybody will say either yes, or they'll say no, and the next question is, do you know anyone who has? So I don't want to be taking up the whole conversation here, but that's part of the induction state, by the way. So if I say, have you ever been stung by a bee, 50% of the people will say no. But if I say, do you know anyone who has? Yeah, I mean, do you know anyone that's do you know anyone's been stung by a bee?
Yeah, me a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we try to include as many people as we can. So, but on a humorous note, I saw the worst pattern interrupt I've ever seen in my life was like, don't you hate it? And what was it like? Don't you hate it when you wake up in the morning and you open your garage door and the cat runs out of the garage door? I'm like,
I don't have a garage.
No, and no. I don't. At the time, I didn't have cats, but I got 3 of them now. Thanks, Andrea.
What's funny is you remind me, the one pattern interrupt that I use, the job I do now is I'm one of those guys on the side of the street here in the south side of Kauai. I do the timeshare presentations. I basically give the discounts for going to the presentation. Everybody loves us. Anyhow, when people are walking by the booth, I'll say, hey, no running by the pool. There's no pool. People will literally stop. And I've had a person turn around, spin around. They're like, dude, there's no pool here. It doesn't matter. They all walk in my booth.
That's great.
They come in and then they're like, wait, you did that to bring me in? I'm like, yes, I did. I'm like, and it worked. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, actually, real quick, what I'm going to do, I'm going to unmute Evan. Evan, if you want to ask oops, I should probably hit the unmute button. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, it's funny. I didn't know you were recording this for posterity and sending it out later. So Evan emailed me today and said, hey, man, I just noticed that you know this Antonio. I said, yeah, why don't you get on the call? I thought it was going to be like hundreds of people on here tonight, but you're sending it out afterwards, so I didn't know that. So what's up?
How do I unmute this? Evan, you might have to jump back. I'm going to hit eject. I hope that does it.
Am I on now? Am I back?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
there you are.
Okay, I'll ask a couple questions. Let me just throw out there. I don't know if you were following Jeff Walker's latest release, but he's got some really great.
He's a total pussy. I fucking hate that.
Yeah, he's got some really great in your head questions. That it just when you said it, it just made me think. Oh yeah, he's doing that right now too. It's just hey, did you ever start things and not finish them? Did you ever wake up in the morning and open your eyes? Did you ever pee and did you ever pee and then shake and then shake again. You know, it's like, yeah, you're talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows that guy. That guy knows me. I
Oh
tell you
yeah.
what, you know, I'm always getting beat up in the cult because I came from, you know, I'm a Saatchi and Saatchi guy. You know, I worked at J. Walter Thompson, like really big brand stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, a direct response is kind of new to me since, you know, I had to do it on my own, and I'm you know, getting my ass handed to me a lot with that stuff. But coming from my own brand now. What's that?
It's
Yeah,
real marketing.
it's
Not
real.
that
It's the real deal now, you know. And
whatever the fuck they are. Yeah.
so I
Madman.
think, yeah, some of the harder things that I've come across is, and the questions I would have is when you have so many avatars, like
Mhm.
you know, when we do teardowns, you know, when you see them always do a teardown, I have so many customers, it's hard for me to figure out who to talk to.
Yeah.
You know, like it's hard for me to figure out who. Like I have two companies that you know, are my major bread and butter, and so I have a company that's a fitness company also where we certify personal trainers.
Hmm.
So, you know, a big guy in my industry is Bedros, right? He's like the Frank Kern of fitness.
He's
Yeah.
another. I never listened to
Okay, so but he gets them after they've hit the floor and they're jaded, yeah. So I get them when they're already full of themselves and they're narcissists and they think they can do anything. You know,
Yeah.
I get them when they don't know how hard it actually is.
Yeah.
So you know, it's hard for me to,
Yeah.
you know, get them coming in. They have no idea.
They
I
don't
get
know.
them.
They don't know there's a problem. Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, they don't know there's a problem yet. So I get them.
Yeah.
I get them when I tell them now. I just recently, I think I've created. I bring them up the yes ladder now, and I kick it out from under them. I've recently said to them, hey, you know, when you're in the supermarket and that guy comes up to you and says, oh wow, how do I get arms like that? Hey, how do I get abs like that? Well, now when you put on your shirt, a trainer shirt, they stop coming up to you. Not only do they stop coming up to you, they hide from you. They won't give you eye contact. They
Right.
avoid you.
Intimidate,
You
right?
know. So now that's the new, you know, like that's what it's like on the gym floor. No one told them that, because what we do is we teach them sales, and they don't want to learn sales.
So
You
can
know.
I give you something right now that will help? I mean,
Yeah, I would
in
love for you to do
case
something
anyone's
right now.
watching this, and in case anyone's doing like a Bible trick on me, in other words, taking things out of context and saying it doesn't mean something, which we get a lot of laughs about that. Just in case, both Jeff and Bedros are friends of mine, so I can say those things. I love them both. Jeff's awesome, and Bedros is a badass. So
It is a
I actually
bad.
drove Bedros'. He sold his Cobra to Joe Polish, who gave it to me. That I gave back to Joe Polish. That's how it worked. Anyway, he had a badass little. Cobra is an awesome car. If you ever get a chance to drive one, you should try it out. So anyway, yeah. So a great way to talk to people who don't know they have a problem is what I call a validation statement. Okay. So what the validation statement looks like is this. You start off with like, look, every skilled and smart trainer knows that it's a challenge to get customers to stick around, right? But did you know, and I don't use the word but, I'd say I would use the word yet did you know that over 99% of all trainers in the world lose 75% of their customers within the first 6 days, or some mind-blowing stat like that, okay, right?
Right.
So what you've done is you said every trainer knows, but you've done something more. You said every good trainer knows.
Right.
So they're immediately going to go, yeah, I'm a good trainer. Yeah, I'm a good trainer. No one's going, oh, yeah, well, I don't know that because I must be a fucking shit trainer, right? They're going, yeah, I knew that, even if they didn't. So you get them agreeing with you, and then all of a sudden you can walk into their problem state. But did you know, and I don't use the word but I'm just using this as a teaching tutorial. So I use, however, did you know? But, by the way, as Antonio would tell you, is an NLP stop term. So I call them stop terms. In other words, you stop, literally, you just stop listening. Your brain kind of tunes out when you hear the word but. So no is another one. I don't use a lot of the word. I don't use a lot of no's. I use a lot of don'ts. So anyway, you would say, however, did you know that blank, and some stat that they didn't know, and that's what I call distraction. So I went from equalization to distraction. Equalization is like, yeah, everyone's equal. Every great trainer knows that point. However, in the distraction, did you know that not? And you could say something crazy. It's something that they don't know. And those just two lines are very, very crucial to starting a sales video or a sales page whenever you're going to an audience that doesn't know they have a problem. So not to labor on this point, Antonio or Evan, but or anyone else listening. But your biggest challenge as a copywriter, other than entering the conversation that's taking place in their mind, and I'll go a step further than that great quote in saying being the voice, speaking in the same voice as they speak. That's if you do that, you've got a sale. Your biggest challenge is to make, I call it the big problem in 3xPSL. The big problem is to make the problem that they don't realize they have super fucking big. And if you want to, I mean, tell me if this is valuable. I'll walk you through like how I would do that for anything. Just name a topic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I can do it.
You know, I'm gonna say
divorced men.
What?
I say divorced men that want to get back in the dating game.
Get back in dating?
Yeah, divorced men that, because a lot of divorced men I found out don't they have a lot of emotional baggage.
Okay. So I'll wait for Evan to come back on here, and I'll give you that. That's awesome. He's got a view. We got a view out here.
Yeah, my view is my little apartment or my girlfriend's dolls on the wall. And just to let everybody know, these little porcelain dolls are not mine. They're my girlfriend's.
Oh yeah, don't worry about that shit, dude. Look at this. I got worse than a doll. Ready? Look at that. Is that ball of fur on the floor? It's a fucking cat, man.
Oh.
It's even worse. There's another one. Got 3 of them.
Cruising around.
I actually like cats, but I'm a dog guy. So my wife loves cats. So.
Yeah, I've never been too much of a cat person.
I've done too, you know what's funny is I like these cats. I mean, I kind of like fuck around with them, but they're not the friendliest cats in the world, and that just immediately turns me off. So I'm like, babe, we either get a dog or I leave. So.
Dude, we used to have our old roommates used to have this white cat. We don't know if it was feral or whatnot, but this thing loved to bite people, especially when I would get drunk and I'd want to play with it and get really rough.
Yeah. Okay. So you gotta hear this. Hold on a second. While we're waiting for it. Oh, there. Here, check this out. What's up, Fluff? Say something. Say something. Look at that.
Oh, we got the kitty cat.
I left, and I don't know what the hell I came back to. I heard him talk about biting and a cat, and I left to divorce and came back.
She's pissed at everything. Look at that. You know.
We were talking about what happens if you get divorced, you end up being a male version of a crazy cat lady.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm married, and I'm a crazy version of a cat lady. Yeah. So let's do the divorce thing with the interrupt I'm talking about. So you would do an induction state that would go something like, look, every divorced man knows the pain of sitting at home, wondering what it's going to be like to finally go on that first date again. Yeah, did you know that your first date after divorce, I'm making this up, so don't anyone quote me on this, I'm making this up. Let's pretend this is true. Yeah, did you know that 75% of first dates after divorce end in absolute abject horror because you simply don't know 3 tips that you have to know in order to go back in the dating market. Now, it's even worse than you think it is. If you don't get back in the dating market within 6 months of being divorced, so-and-so study shows that you will go years without sex, that your balls will shrink, and that your dick will go away, and you'll gain 45 pounds, and I'll make the problem so much worse than they've ever believed it would be. And I can make, I just made all that stuff up, of course, but I can make that stuff stick. So I know that single men gain weight easier. Because divorced men gain weight easier because they're depressed. So listen, if you don't get back in the dating field, you know what's going to happen? You're going to gain weight. Odds are 75% in favor of you gaining weight. And when you gain weight, you think you're having a hard time now? Women are going to fucking hate you. You won't be able to see your penis. I mean, you think anyone's going to want that penis? I mean, you can't even see it. You think anyone else is going to want to see it? Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of how the conversation would go, right? If it was an X-rated site, this is how it would go. If it was an R-rated site, maybe, but Google, I would censor it down. But
good thing I'm not a divorced guy. I'd be a little depressed right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, not only that, but your liver. I'd go into listen, it's even worse than that. Did you know that your prostate gland Just going. When's the last time you had a prostate check? Do you know that divorced men have 3 times larger prostates? And let me tell you, you don't want that because they have to stick this laser up your penis hole, and they get. I mean, So I'll just go on and on and on. I'll make it so terrible, it's absolutely terrible, that you have to watch this video. Otherwise, it's just you might as well just chop your penis off and shoot yourself.
You won't be able to sleep at night.
Right. And so, and all of the stuff. Now, here's the catch. All of the stuff has to be true. So all I'm doing as a copywriter is taking what's true. For example, it is true if you have an enlarged prostate that one of the surgeries that is available is actually goes through the urethra, if you can imagine this. And it's like a saw. It's just like horrible to think about, right? And the only reason I know this is because we're writing a prostate VSL right now. It's just horrible. So I will bring this up and say, listen, you don't want the dick saw. The last thing you want as a divorced man is the fucking penis saw. So it's kind of funny, but it's also like you speak it in kind of like a straight face. Listen, I know a friend of mine that had the penis saw who really is. And so I'll make sure all of it's true. Like I wouldn't say a friend of mine had it if it wasn't true. But what I'm all doing is spelling out the worst possible scenario for any given problem. Like for example, weight gain is an easy one. Look, I know you want to look better for your 10-year anniversary, or you want to look better for your high school reunion. Maybe you just want to look good in a bikini. Maybe for the first time in your life. See all the maybes? I don't say for the first time. I say always maybe. Perhaps for the first time in your life. However, did you know that your weight gain isn't all about looking good in a bikini? In fact, statistically, stats show that parents who gain weight inflict their children with the same genes, and they inflict their children with the same behaviors. Their children go on to gain weight, not only gain weight, but they end up with suicidal depression rates through the roof. And I'll just make it so much worse.
Wow.
And so that's what I call the big problem. It's never.
You don't want to be irresponsible parents.
Exactly. So I will take somebody from I want to lose 5 pounds to holy fuck I'm a lousy parent within about 3 minutes. And so that's their largest pain threshold. So understand that when I'm talking to somebody, I know for a fact that every human being on the planet has 6 or 7 core values. So I'm touching base on all those core values. Family is one of them. So even if you don't have kids, so I'll say, listen, even if you don't have kids, eventually you're going to want them, and you don't want these behaviors going to. So I'll cover everybody, right? And that's the whole big problem part of the 3X PSL system is built to do that, is to cover everything. And it's not exaggeration. That's the thing that I want to get across. It's not bullshit. It's not exaggeration. You're just telling the story in a very effective way. Like, for example, I could say, for example, do you realize that, for example, I drink a glass of wine every night, and I drink it for my heart because I have heart disease. So you wouldn't know it now, but I had heart disease in my 20s. And so HDL is raised by drinking a glass or 2 of vino a day. So this is part of my treatment, and plus it tastes good. But so if I said, listen, one of the best things you can do for your heart is drink a glass of wine. It's true. Also, what's really good for your heart is blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, I said something is true, factually true. But if I said, listen, one of the best ways to enjoy restoring your heart, actually having a great time with your wife or your husband or just your friends, is to go out and have a great, tasty glass of wine. Yep, that's right. A glass of wine is awesome for your heart. And not only is it awesome for your heart, it also has anthocyanins in them, which has been clinically proven to increase the length of your telomeres. In other words, wine is anti-aging. Isn't that awesome? So all I've done is take stats I know about wine, and make that just a little bit bigger than what they think it is. And that's part of the bigger problem. The big problem, and it's part of the next thing that I talk about, is the bigger solution. So your problem is really huge. I mean, in the case of our single guy who just got divorced, he's looking at having a dick saw, which I just came up with that term tonight, so how to use it.
TM.
Dick saw.
TM.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal
He's
that.
lose his balls. He's going to gain 40 pounds. He's never going to get laid again. His animals are going to die. I mean, he's facing a really terrible life right now. And so I'm going to say, listen, the great thing is the solution to this is even better. So it's bigger than your biggest problem. So the solution to this not only erases all that stuff, but it also gives you all this great stuff. And then we get into the great stuff. Because, again, people are more motivated to avoid pain than gain pleasure. So I talk a lot about pain, and then I say, listen, it's really great. If you want to gain pleasure, do this. But it's kind of after the fact, after we've already established the pain.
You find out where that the little bit of pain is, take the knife, kind of jab it a little bit.
I'm all about, so here's, I just want to make sure this is very clear. What I'm talking about here can be used for total ill-gotten gain, right? If you have an awesome product and you know that it will benefit people, and you know that people, being people, will put it off. I mean, just today, I put off doing something I know I need to do, and if somebody would have hit me with a sales message and said, listen, drop what you're doing right now and go do this, and here's why. Not only is it told me all the things I already know, but also, did you know that 79% of executives who do this end up making 265% more money the first year they do it? Oh, okay, great. Let's go over there and do that. Or whatever it would be, right? That's true. That would motivate me to do this. Understand that everyone needs that motivation. Everybody needs that kick over the cliff to go, I'm going to do something about my dating life. I'm going to do something about the fact that I'm divorced. I'm going to do something about the fact that I'm fat, or whatever it may be. And so all you're doing is you're providing the impetus to do that, assuming that you have a product that's worth a shit. So if you're using this and you're selling acai berry, go fuck yourself and die. I hope you fucking get cancer. Seriously.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
It's a good message.
Is that wrong? Okay. No, seriously, I do hope you fucking get cancer. Because, I mean, seriously, anyone selling anything bad, stop it. And I talk this way all the time, so I'm sorry if you got a PG-rated show or something, but some people...
No, don't worry. My last podcast was over the top.
Oh, okay.
No, you ever, I'm going to interject real quick.
Yeah.
That joke. What that old vaudeville joke? You've heard the aristocrats joke, right?
No, I'm not that old.
Oh no, I'll send you a link. I'm not going to do the joke, but I had stage hypnotist Anthony Cools from Las Vegas. If you ever get a chance and you're in Vegas, go see Anthony Cools. He is extremely dirty. He has people like screwing chairs on stage, having orgasms. He did the joke on the podcast, and it's like it's a joke that's basically like a secret handshake between comedians where you try to discuss each other's. Absolutely,
it wasn't
disgusting.
I seem to remember that. Yeah.
But,
it was
guy
so...
walks in talent agency.
I grew up on George Collins.
It's horrible.
Nothing offends me, but yeah. So the point is that you can't be sheepish about tapping on the fear zones of your customer. You just can't. I mean, if you do, and I have dealt with people like this, they're usually the new agey, hug a tree kind of people, and very similar to my wife, who's also a very awesome marketer, by the way. So she is new agey, but she's like, when it comes to marketing, man, she just takes out her fists and fucking it's at the throat, But a lot of her friends are very very new agey, and they're kind of way the fuck out there, and they would say, we would talk about marketing, and they'd say, I don't want to say anything negative. I don't want to bleed any negative energy into the cosmos at all, because everything I want to say, look, just fucking stop it, dude. You'll never fucking make it. Just go away. You'll never make it. So what I'll say is, you'll never make it in direct marketing. What you want to do is to build a rabid fan following by posting one message after another that is relevant to that, and you can build a huge following like that over time. But you can't get direct response. You can't get cold traffic to this or that. You have to say.
Yeah, hypnotists are known for a lot of hypnotists, healers in general. All the new agers, I call them the new wagers. They're scared to market. They think they're doing they talk about, I'm doing God's work. I'm doing healing work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hypnotists. There was some study on hypnothoughts.com where they ran a survey of 1,600 hypnotists, and I think some of them were making $15K a year. That's because they didn't know how to market.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it's same thing's true for other people they do healing work, like massage therapists and stuff like that. I mean, some of those guys have finally gotten out of it and start charging what they're worth, but a lot of people still don't do it, and I'm sure hypnotists are the same way. But there's an equation there that goes to a fundamental flaw in our thinking, and it comes from the garbage that says that money is the love of money is the root of all evil. That's such a trite phrase, so I'm going to piss off Christians now, I'm sorry, but it's so trite. I mean, no, you know what's worse than the fucking love of money is actual greed. It doesn't have to be for money. It can be greed for power. It can be greed for sex. It can be greed for the food in the refrigerator. Money is just one thing of greed. So I think greed is the root of all evil. Just look at Washington, D.C., right? You want to see greed in action? Look at Dick Cheney fucking going into Iraq knowing that he's going to make billions of dollars. It doesn't matter that he kills 100,000 people. That's greed. You look at these.
That's seriously messed up.
Right now, by the way, Dick Cheney, fuck you. So you look at guys like that, it's like, that's greed, right? So greed isn't someone like me or you saying, listen, I want to make a good living and I want to make I'm a good marketer, I've got a great product, and yeah, maybe we can make millions of dollars. That's awesome. That's awesome. But what do we do with those millions of dollars? We don't just have Ferraris. I don't have a Ferrari, but we don't just have Ferraris or mansions in Malibu. I do have that. Or whatever you have. We have other things. We donate to schools in Africa. We do whatever you do, right? And so I think it comes from that really trite, very simplistic look at the world that says money in the acquisition of it. In other words, asking someone to give me money is a reflection of the root of all evil. When in actuality, it's nothing more than the exercise of the only system on the planet that makes any sense at all, which is free enterprise. As far as commerce goes. I mean, look, I've got something awesome. You want something awesome. I'm going to give it to you at a good price, and we're both happy. The only time free enterprise
win-win.
Yeah, the only time it fails is when you're greedy. And if I can say this, and ask me any question you guys want to ask, by the way, the one thing that I've never gotten in the past 5 years is anybody saying to me, "You've charged too much for your product for 3x." It's $2,000. It's about to go to $4,000. By the way. And the reason why is really simple. They get it. The moment they get in, they go, okay, I get this. This is really, really awesome stuff. And he's put his entire life and all this, 40 hours of video and hundreds of hours of other stuff in there and all this programming to help you create an instant sales letter. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth every bit because, $4,000 is nothing in the scheme of making a sales letter work. That's one email. That's one email from an affiliate, But so they get that. But the only question I've ever gotten in that response, and I would like to address this for anyone who's afraid of selling something, was someone saying like, look, I bet it's worth that, but it seems really expensive. That's the worst I've gotten, so help me God. Other people, I know Jeff Walker, for example, Jeff's gotten like, man, fuck you for charging $2,000 for your product. Well, fuck you for saying that, man. I personally know Jeff, and I know his product. It's awesome. It's made thousands of people millions of dollars. So go fuck yourself if you believe it's not worth it. And Jeff is a very good teacher. So literally, just go fuck yourself. I'll say the same thing for my stuff and for Evan Pagan stuff and for Frank Hearn stuff. I think Frank's stuff is awesome. Harlan's stuff is fantastic. The best NLP writing course I've ever seen is Harlan's. But the point is that with people that are afraid of selling and they're afraid of charging what they're really worth. I'm only asking you to do this. If you're afraid of asking for hypnotherapy, you're a hypnotherapist and you want to charge $20 for a session because you're, oh gosh, I want to do God's work. I really want to heal the planet. That's great. You're not going to heal the planet when you're fucking starving. If you believe that there's nobility in starvation, then you shouldn't do anything to help people starving in Africa. If you really believe that, okay. So if you don't believe that, if you don't believe there's any nobility in poverty, as Charlie Sheen said in Wall Street, then please make yourself successful enough to be able to do something with the money that you're making to make a difference in the world. Absolutely. If not for any reason, give yourself half of it and give half of it away. Or do like Warren Buffett did, give 85% away.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, real quick, you're talking about the no nobility and poverty. I could hear, what's his name? You're working in your marketing forum, Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
Talks about that. There's no nobility in poverty.
Yeah, that's actually, he stole that line from Wall Street, but it's still a good line. So I rag on him all the time. I said, dude, I can't believe you had that line in your movie. We did the marketing for Wolf of Wall Street, and he's like, yeah, there's no nobility in poverty. I go, that's in the movie Wall Street, right? He didn't know it was in the movie Wall Street. I go, it's in the movie Wall Street. So he's like, I fucking didn't know that. But anyway.
Just not paying attention.
Yeah.
I think, I'm going to give you 1 second. I was asking John, so when am I getting my review copy of your program?
I don't give away review
Just
copy.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No,
real quick, in regards to pricing, if let's say if something's $197, if it gives you the result, it's worth it.
Yeah.
If it's $2,000, if you only make back the same exact money, you're still doing good.
Yeah, if you learn something, yeah, absolutely. But I've never had anyone go through my course and apply it that didn't make the money back. Well, I take the time out. I take that back. One person over the last 4 years, and that person translated it from English to Chinese, and he did it in the Chinese. There's some weird currency there's some niche in China that I don't know about, and it didn't work in the financial niche in China. So other than that. I've never had anyone do the course, actually apply it, and then not work.
I think it comes down to if you do the course and you spend the money and you do the course and you follow it and you don't make money, you're not doing it right, and you need to go back and do it again. You need to look at it and do it again because you're not doing it right.
Or you're just not applying yourself because the one thing about 3X that's very, very handy is the fact that it is when I say done for you, it's more like done with you. You watch a couple of minutes of video, then you select the copy, then you press a button, and then you go on to the next video. So either you didn't press all the buttons and you didn't watch all the videos, or your product sucks. There's always the possibility that, for example, I use the example of how to tame your llama. If you have a Tame Your Llama course, don't be surprised if you get 6 sales. I mean, there's not a lot of llamas in the world, and those that do exist probably don't need taming. But so if you have a product that actually makes sense and makes people money or makes people happy or whatever it is that makes people thinner, then expect good sales from it if you go through it.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny, where I used to live, there's some llamas down the road about 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah, exactly.
Hawaii is a strange place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
I think, marketing, I don't think people know, we talk about people are afraid to ask for the sale and marketing, they don't want to do the negatives. I think sales in general has this bad rap. I think it's because of salespeople, because everyone always says the sale starts with the first no, and it's just such a date rapey thing to say. Like the sale starts with the first no, and I think what everyone's always trying, because I've taught sales, I've trained sales for years and years and years. I think what everyone's always trying to say, and you have to be careful when you get online and you train people in video to say sales, like we're trying to find out why they're saying no and get to the root of why they're saying no and not sound like a date rapist, like, oh, they say no, it really means yes, and then you have to help them say yes and you beat them down. No. So it's kind of like the same thing of I know you've never heard anyone say sales
marketing formula. Yeah, here we go.
But maybe people just need to know that marketing is not date rapey either.
No, it's not. So I've heard it called icky. You get that icky feeling when you go onto a sales page. And you can be icky and you can be over the top, but being persuasive is never icky. People hate to be sold, but they love to buy things.
Yep.
So if you doubt that, look around your room. That's all you have to do. So,
I love to be guided through. I call it the assistant buyer. Like, when everyone's been in the situation where you've gone to the store where you need a tie or you need a shoe. You've run to a wedding and you're wearing a pair of sneakers and a suit and you need to buy a pair of shoes and the guy knows he's gotcha, so he's just going to help you find something.
Exactly.
He knows he's got a sale, so he doesn't need to beat you up. He's just going to help you get something. He's as excited as you. So he's just going to be the assistant shopper.
I just had that experience. So I'll tell you this. This is a funny story. My former, I have a new personal assistant. My former personal assistant was not that bright, and that's why she's former. But she, I had to get a suit for the premiere of Wolf of Wall Street. Going back to Jordan, right? So we're going to New York. We're hanging out with Leo and Matt McConaughey and all those guys and Jordan, of course. And it's a big deal, right? You're fucking. I'm at my home state's. I'm in New York, so. To go back home and my wife, I get to shore the city the way I want to do, and you have to wear a suit to a premiere, right? And so I don't have a suit because I'm fucking internet marketer, right? What do I need with a suit? It's like I'm in t-shirts and shorts all day long, so it's like I haven't had a suit in 10 years, and so I said, oh, okay, well, now it's a good excuse to go out and get a suit. So I said to my assistant, I said, go out. I don't want to have to think about this. Just call ahead, find some really cool place in Beverly Hills or whatever, and just get something that's not ridiculously expensive, but something cool. And it was like I forgot the store, but it's like a common store. but it's a decent score. And she called ahead. She goes, okay, here's my boss's description, and she said he's 50 years old and he weighs 200 pounds. So I get to the store. I get to the store and I walk in and like there's this really young, attractive girl that comes up. She goes, "Can I help you?" I go, "Yeah, I'm John. I called earlier with my assistant." She goes, "No, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are." I go, "We had an actual appointment, like right now." She goes, "Is your last name Benson?" She goes, "I go, yeah." She goes, "You're not what we expected." She said you were 50 years old and 200 pounds. I go, "I am 50 years old and 200 pounds." She goes, "Yeah, okay. So I thought you were an old fat guy. Okay, let me just be straight with you." She was hilarious. She goes, "I thought you were an old fat guy." And so all the suits I picked out were for old fat guys. And so Sammy didn't tell her that I have a 30-inch waist. So, yeah, big difference in the suits, right? So it was hilarious. I just thought it was fucking funny. And so that changed the attire of everything I bought. So when I got in there, I said, "Okay, well," she goes, "We don't have anything that you can wear because you've got the broad shoulders," and then I get this problem being in fitness, right? And so I said, "Well, why don't we get a jacket from somewhere else, like a jacket from like a solo jacket, and then a solo pair of pants, and we can just make it match." And she was so cool. She found something that worked great. It was a great suit. Found a great shirt. She goes, "You know what would look awesome with that?" And she had me at that. She had me. I wanted to be sold something else because she said, it'd be awesome at that. So it turns to find out that she was being totally truthful about the whole because I walked in there and there was like 5 suits picked out that none of them would fit me in a million years. I mean, literally the waist was like this much difference, and so she wasn't lying. But the fact is, it made me feel good. It made me feel good because people think of a 50-year-old guy, they don't think of usually a guy that has abs or that's in good shape or whatever. They think of a 50-year-old guy with gray hair and whatever they're thinking. And so whatever I used to think when I was 35, right, or 30 in her case. So it made me feel good, but also I wanted to buy something else. So talking to your customers, think of it that way. Make them feel really smart for making this decision. You can't make them feel good because you can make them feel good for making a wise decision, but you can't compliment them in exactly the same way she did. But you can certainly make them feel good, and I do that on the very first on the upsell page. I go, "Listen, congratulations. Do you realize that only 98% that only 2% of the people in the world actually take action on their dreams? That puts you in a very elite category of human being. So you're awesome right off the bat. Congratulations just for being awesome." Now, if you want to actually take it to the next level, like a lot of our customers do, you're going to love this. So I got their attention. And I said, "Listen, you got everything you need to know to do blank. But if you want to go faster, if you want to make things happen a little faster, like a lot of our customers, to be honest, they're impatient. And I don't know about you, but I'm impatient too. So this may appeal to you." Notice all the open. There's not like this is going to definitely appeal to you. I'm saying this really may appeal to you if you're impatient. Because are you impatient? Name one person that you know that's not impatient. It's like impatience is almost like a virtue in the modern world. So that's just the way. That's another induction state, by the way. So I'm just appealing to what I know that they already want. So listen, because you bought this weight loss product, you probably would like something that would help you with exercise too, right? Or something that will help you with maybe a cookbook. I'm not being a douche. I'm actually giving them what they actually want, right? And so the goal here is
phrasing it right.
Yeah, and so I've been said, like, "Why don't you just sell everything for $5?" I go, "Well, why doesn't Ferrari just sell it for $100 fucking then?" So or for what they make, $100 over cost. The reason why they wouldn't be in business, There's nothing wrong with making a profit. There's nothing wrong with profiting from what you're doing, especially if you go over the edge and you really go the extra mile and you help a lot of people. So
suit shopping is such a good example of persuasion. Last time I bought a suit, I bought like a $550 suit, not an expensive suit, but I bought like $250 shoes, right? They always say like they get you to buy the suit, and then everything else seems like nothing afterwards, right? So you spent $550, I spent like another $50-$60 on a belt, like $50 tie, $30-$40 shirt. You get $1,000 for the whole setup, but my shoes, I still have these beautiful $250 shoes, right? I didn't have to buy $250 shoes, but I ended up buying these really nice shoes, which cost about almost half as much as the suit. How do we get, we're always coming in at these $7. I mean, I don't. My business is not I'm building a funnel now that kind of follows more of a tripwire model, a lead magnet tripwire. I've kind of gotten smarter since I joined the cult. I've gotten smart. I've studied that model, but I come in now at a with a lead magnet and a core offer, but I'm changing my ways. But how do we come in now as a suit
A bad gig.
model?
I,
You
I,
know,
I, didn't, I didn't know Colin thought it was, or the guys in the cult thought that was a horrible idea. I think it's a very good idea, but keep going.
no, I'm saying that I'm at this model now where I have this. I've kind of gotten lazy. I have this whole. Who fucked up my business is Tim Ferriss. It cost me $180,000. That bastard.
Yeah,
I had a 7-hour work week, and I read that book. I was making $180,000 a year, a 7-hour work week, and
yeah,
I fucked it up to try and get down to 4. And
yeah.
I
Well,
made
yeah,
one.
fuck you and leave you alone in a hotel room without sending you flowers. I mean, that's all.
So
Tim, call me, Tim. I still pine for you. Still pine for you.
But I mean, I fixed it. I fixed it. I straightened it all out. I'm in Hawaii now, so I'm glad. It all worked out. But
You're doing good, man. You're doing good.
yeah, I worked it all out. But I did. I wanted 4. 7 wasn't good enough because I read that stupid book. And fuck you, Tim.
Yeah.
And but so I had this whole idea where I automated everything. It's still kind of automated now. That's why I'm able to have the life I have. But I had this whole idea of like, if they don't buy it, they can go away. Like I didn't build the list, I didn't do any of those things. Now I've kind of changed the model, but with the suit idea of coming by the core offer and then, hey, here's these little accoutrements. Here's a half price offer. I'm not really doing that either. Right now, it's like, here's this thing because it's a certification. Here, buy this certification. We'll see you again for the upsells on. Here's the hard copy. Here's the T-shirts. Here's the sales course. Here's these other upsell CEUs. So I'm changing all the model now because if I a 2-year sales cycle, I'll never get into that kind of business again. It's the dumbest. Now that I've learned my lesson and I've got other businesses, I would never do a 2-year sales cycle again.
I gotta tell you, my wife and I were watching Mad Men the other night, and there was a scene where John Hamm sat back and he came up with some like 2-word tagline, and they said, "Man, that's why they pay you so much money." I'm going, God damn, that's a fucking easy job. I do that like twice in an hour. Just pay me that kind of money, man. And I think, wait just a second, I do make that kind of money. Shit. Well, have Madison Avenue pay me that kind of money, but yeah, Madison Avenue is a joke. I mean, I knock on them, but the truth is the fact that the copywriters at Madison Avenue couldn't write their way up a wet paper bag of giving a direct response job. I mean, actually having to get results and measure the fucking thing. When you're writing reach ads and you're writing these they can come up with catchy and pithy taglines and copy that's very fun to read. I'll put it that way, but not very persuasive. So I think that you've really come to moving from that area into this area. It's the trenches of marketing, and if you can figure this out, you can go to Madison Avenue and just completely wipe your ass with those guys. I mean,
that's where I came from. I mean, and for anyone who doesn't know, just a brief history of advertising, because I came from the art side and then became a creative director where I had to care about copy. So it's even harder for me. But the way it started, and being a sales guy originally, but the way copywriting and everything started was there were salespeople selling ad space, and they'd write the ads. And the guys who were the art directors, who I was, worked downstairs in like the basement or the first floor. Copywriters would shove under the door the advertising with like a little drawing, chicken scratch, and those guys would draw it and say, well, what do you think? And they would say, yeah, get back downstairs. Like, who told you could come up here? So, as an art guy, it's a whole new world, but just grinding it every day. We're doing okay, but no Jon Benson,
Please. The thing is like I make these comments, and I mean, David Ogilvy was a great example of somebody who was a madman, but an ad man. Madman, if you watch Madman. But yeah, a great example of a fucking awesome copywriter. But the guys on Madison Avenue are so far and few between compared to the guys that are in the Copy Posse or that are in the Cult of Copy. Or those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head. But I mean, you can't compare. I'm sorry, you just can't. You can't compare those guys like Gary Benzavenga or John or Kevin. Yeah, and Kevin we just talked today, and Kevin's one of the guys I turn to write stuff.
Rogers.
Kevin Rogers, yeah. And yeah, and so you get, it's he's a member of my Samurai Society, which is the copywriters that I teach all the really fucking top level stuff to. But I mean, you just really can't compare those guys because they don't have to. It's not that they're not talented; it's that they're not challenged. I mean, they're very smart. They come up with great taglines, but like my wife and I were just joking. It's like, is that all you have to do? I mean, and I used to own an ad agency, so I know a little bit about this. I mean, that's really kind of all you have to do when you write an ad. You just have to write a really good headline, and then write relatively sparse copy, and then put the image in. When you write a direct response headline, like the one-legged golfer headline, or like
Right.
the 7 words to convince them to do anything, that's a different story. You have to actually write that letter, and that's what I don't see in these guys. I don't see the ability to write really persuasive letters, and of course, there's always exceptions. So I rag on them. It's kind of like not to be a dick, but just to say the guys that are in the trenches that you don't know about, the Chris Haddads of the world. I mean, like no one on Madison Avenue is going to know Chris Haddad, but he's one of the best fucking copywriters on the planet.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, so and I think he's awesome. And it's flattering to me that he tells me I just refuse to go through your course because I refuse to go through his. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to be any more influenced you by. He goes, I'm already influenced enough. So the same way with you. It's like I don't want to be, in Carlton. I mean, Carlton's like not only, to have him as a friend is one thing, but he's written some of the best letters on the planet. You're not going to find those guys on Madison Avenue because if they're so good, they can go work for themselves. I mean, they don't need
right.
That. So
they don't need a quote unquote job.
No, I mean, did Gary Benzavenga have a job? Here's what's funny is I only met Gary once, and it was a pleasure. I was actually speaking. I was actually talking on copy, and I kept saying, okay, I'm really kind of like freaked out because Gary Benzavenga is sitting right there, and I've just met you, and I know that you're like this fucking legend, but I've never read anything you've written. I'm so sorry, dude. I just I don't know what to say to you, but other than I know you're great. So I felt like a douche because I literally never read anything you wrote when I did that thing, and I went back and read as many things as I could get my hands on, and I read one magalog from him, and I said, okay, now I get it. Now I understand why people say he's
yeah.
And then when people tell me that they say that about me, it's like, I think you're the greatest copywriter alive. I kind of chuckle, but I mean, people can think that. I'm probably Gary chuckled too, but it's all relative. Like greatest is a relative term. Greatest in what regard? I mean, like I know Makepeace makes. I've never met him, but he makes a lot of money. He's made a lot of money from his letters, and so is Gary. And where I've like been more of an instructor, like teaching people how to do something, and have made far more money for other people. But I've made letters that have made hundreds of millions of dollars too. So it's all relative. But the bottom line is that I don't want someone listening to this to think that you have to be a copywriter. What you need to do is learn how to speak the language of your customer. That's not you don't have to be a professional copywriter. You just need to be really good for the people that you talk to. And that's so crucial, man. If you don't know the language of your customer, you're fucked. You're completely fucked. You might as well just quit and go work at McDonald's or Walmart or from what I hear, Costco, because they're better. Just read a news report today. But seriously, you don't want to do that. You want to make your own living. And I think you can do that if you learn to speak their language. And like I said, there's only seven distinct core values. And if you speak to all 7 of those core values in your letter, you will speak to your customer. It's that simple.
Now, with that being said, what is I know we're talking about. I think you have a PDF you could give up to my audience. What actually, if you look below this video or above it, below, however it is, I have a link to his website. You can learn more about the one thing he talks about. I think it's the 7 modalities, the buyer modalities, which he got some pretty tight material.
Yeah, modality marketing.
Tight material.
So yeah, and the thing is that video sales letters will let you play off more modalities. That's one reason it works. Like a modality is just a way that you learn things. So you learn through seeing, through listening, through tactile sensation stuff. So I teach people to write copy and do video sales letters. So you hear the voice, you hear the inflection. As you know, that most of what you listen to is actually body language and tone. You can't get body language unless you're on a video. But I recommend you not being on a video because your body language often betrays you. Unless you really master video, you don't want to be on video. You want to be on a video sales letter where you're just on for a few seconds maybe, but then you go to slides the slides are hypnotic, and Antonio, you know a little bit about that. So when you see slides going by like this, it's hypnotic. It's just like a watch swinging in your face, right? And those words are very powerful too. But when I talk about modality marketing, I'm talking about, like, for example, you've got taste, touch, feel, actually taste, touch, sight, hearing. So if I say a sentence like, can you see what I'm saying and how it makes you feel? That sentence doesn't make any sense, but I've got two different modalities in there, right? Can you see? I'll use this all the time. Like, I really feel like you see what I'm saying, or I really feel that you hear what I'm saying. Those are two different modalities. I'm talking to someone who is a listener and talking to someone who's a feeler. I really feel that you hear what I'm saying. It's a simple
basically
thing.
hitting every angle.
Hitting from every angle. And of course, you don't do this on every slide, otherwise it would get completely ridiculous. But doing it enough keeps people. You can't know what modality the person is partial to. A lot of people are partial to visual. If you're going to a male audience, you know you're visual, so you want to use the word see a lot. If you're going to a female audience, you want to use the word feel. We know these things to be true. So I write to a lot of female audiences. I wrote a book for a very famous female person, and so a lot of the language was very touchy-feeling. But it was very powerful feeling, because you don't want to be touchy-feeling like, oh, isn't that flowery and cute and sweet? It's not going to sell anything. What you want to do is, like, I feel that you need to know and need to feel how powerful you are as a woman. So what I did right there in that sentence is I said the word feel twice, but also said the word know once. Right? So I'm appealing to their mind, I'm appealing to their thought processes, but I'm appealing to their feelings more than anything else. It's just an example. Now, if you try that language with guys, good luck.
Yeah.
I feel you really feel your.
I use modalities today to avoid a phone call. This is fantastic stuff. All I ever want to do is stay off the phone with customers, because someone went through the trouble to email me. They email you. They email for a phone call so that you get on the phone, so you can email them what you talked about. And this person said, the email to say, "Can you call me?" And I said, "Hey, I got your email. I'm listening. What would you like to tell me? Let's talk. So that I can open up that conversation." I have a question for hypnosis and NLP for both you guys, actually, since I have you both here. Because I noticed, like, one of the big things I noticed is there's a lot of super successful guys online marketing that are NLP, that are, that have hypnosis background, and they don't all come out and say it, but you can catch it. Like, if you read a lot of their stuff, or you see a lot of what they do and say, you'll catch a lot of them, whether it's they have a history in seduction or dating, or you'll just catch a little a snippet of something they say. What do you guys think for marketing? Who's the best to read for after you've read Erickson, after you've read Bandler? Who do you read next? Who after Cialdini's second book, 1 and 2? What do you got after that? Or then you just...
who's really good is Rintu, R-I-N-T-U, Basu, B-A-S-U. He does a lot of conversational hypnosis. Teaches, like, hypnotic language patterns, how to use presuppositions. I'm sure John uses a lot of presuppositions in your marketing.
Would you put a link for that one up too?
Yeah, what I'll do is whenever I share this, I'll add a link. I got so many. But do you ever come over to Kauai?
I might be coming over. I don't come over that often because I have a 3-year-old.
Well, if you ever come over, let me know. So I do hypnosis at this art festival, and I just hypnotize everybody, make them feel like they're drunk, smoking weed, and I get entertainment. I just do it to entertain myself.
Hypnosis hour, yes, with Antonio. Yeah, that's great.
You're gonna hypnotize. You got fuzzy there for a second. You said you're gonna hypnotize me to smoke weed. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think you said that.
No. I hypnotized all the tourists to feel like they're drinking and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
I had her feeling like she was drunk, and I asked her if she's ever done a beer bong, and she was feeling super drunk, just stone cold sober. And she's like, "Yeah, I've done a beer bong." I'm like, "Okay, good. Pretend you're bringing a beer." I turn around, and I hear everybody cracking up. I turn back, and it looks like this. Here, let me see if I can go for the audience. This is kind of inappropriate, but it actually looked like this. Yeah. And I don't know why everybody's laughing when I turn around. There's a bunch of kids like, oh, time to stop. Time to stop. One last question.
Yeah, one last question.
About the whole hypnotic effect of the slides. Do you ever, people talk about like using like Baroque music has like 60-second, I think, kind of beats or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find talking in a certain way helps to kind of prod them along?
Yes, absolutely. So listen to how I'm talking right now. I am speaking in a very specific rhythm. And when I speak in this rhythm, you'll notice that I'm pausing in certain places. And when I pause, yes, copywriting is extremely hypnotic. And you don't even have to speak it. I talk about writing in rhythm, not writing in rhyme and meter. That's just so ridiculously gay. I do a lot of poetry. I know that sounds equally ridiculously gay, but it's not. I actually really love the exercise of poetry, and none of it rhymes. None of it has a specific meter, but it's got a rhythm to it that just actually just flows very much like we're talking right now. And when you flow like this it's a very strong induction state. It's when you speak in sentences that have a lot of like run-on sentences are like the worst, not only for copy but also just in grammar in general. But a lot of your copy has terrible grammar. The grammar is irrelevant. So the most important thing is the meter and the rhythm of that copy. If you're reading this and you can read it, and it seems so easy to read, just like I'm talking right now, and then you see how this is working. So
I'm zoning out. I'm zoning out.
So this is how your customer is reading it in their head.
Right.
So last thing I'll say is the reason why I think video sales letters are so superior to sales pages, in most cases, some cases sales pages work just great, is because most people are reading in their own language, in their own voice rather. So when they're reading a page, they're hearing their own voice in their head. So if you're going to a market that's successful, that's business driven, you can get by with it. If you're going to a market like weight loss, they don't believe their own words. So the worst person to talk to for themselves is themselves. So they're hearing themselves saying, yeah, you should really try that stupid fucking gadget on late night television. And they've already seen that doesn't work. So when I take over the voice and I say, just listen to me, I'm going to guide you through this. It's a different story, right?
Nice.
One of the reasons video sales letters work so well because you're reading the words, but you're not hearing your own voice. And some people have hypothesized, and there's no way to test this, that you're hearing your own voice on top of someone else's voice. So it's like a voice in stereo. So it's really pretty cool. There's a lot of psychological reasons why video sales letters work. So.
Oh man, when I with the niche I'm working on, when I start getting some money cranked out, I'm definitely buying that course.
It's
definitely
awesome.
buying it. It's I love psychology, manipulation, persuasion, whatever the hell you want to call it.
I'd switch that. I would take that as, I'm not going to do a presupposition with you, but I would switch it and say, if you want to make a lot of money, you should buy the course so that you can make a lot of money. But so yeah, I'll end with this. One of the famous success stories. One of my clients came up to me and said, he reminded me that he sent me an email saying, listen, I'd really love to buy your course, but I just have to buy a car right now, so I'm going to have to wait off on it. I said, why don't you buy my course so you can buy a better car? And so he bought the course. He goes, and he sent me a picture of his BMW. So it's like, yeah, you have to buy a car, but you're going to spend a couple of grand on the course, and that way you can spend 50 or 80 grand on a car versus 20 grand on a car. So it's a better deal.
Jordan Belfort taught you that one, huh?
No. Yeah. No, if he ever said that,
that's a good one though. That's a good one.
Yeah, I've said that for years, so he might have stolen it from me. True story, though.
John,
yeah.
Thank you a ton for actually coming on this, because for a while I thought when I first started doing all my hypnosis podcasts and NLP podcasts, I almost put people up on a pedestal, and then I realized a lot, even some of the top copywriters and marketers such as yourself, people are not untouchable. Yeah. We're all here for the same thing: have fun, make money.
Well, almost. Actually, Evan Pagan is untouchable. I'm kidding.
Is he?
No, he's not.
But David D'Angelo?
David D'Angelo most certainly is. Yeah.
If you can do me a favor, just Just text me his phone number. That way I'll just call him up. Yeah, we go back
do
to
that. No, it's like Eben can seem very unapproachable, but once you approach him, he fills you out. Make sure that you're a normal guy. It's like,
You're not some kind of crazy stalker.
oh my God, yeah. I'm sure he gets a lot of that, but he's actually one of the most down to earth and lovable human beings on the planet. So, but anyway, yes, I totally get. Yeah, I think that
my view.
it's, awesome. That's
Is it my Hawaii? Where's Diamond Head? So instead of 4,000, can I just fly you out here? Fly you out here for a one-on-one. Fly you and your wife out here.
Well, this may be a little bit too bright to see, but this is my backyard, pal.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're not gonna get. And on the other side, it's got all this stuff here. So.
Oh man, you got me beat. I got some buildings. Maybe I should have gone higher.
Well, the thing is, one thing I always said I would never chance on is where I live, because you spend all your life there. So, but no, I love Hawaii. My wife loves it, so we're out there at least once a year. So
next time you come out,
let me buy you some fish tacos next time you're out.
Okay, all right. All right, great guys. Hey, thanks for
next time you're out here. Hit me up. Everybody, check out the link above or below, and I will talk to you soon. Subscribe to the newsletter and get some more awesome podcasts and all the other goodies. John, it was nice talking to you.
Good night. All right.
Thanks, Antonio. Thanks, John.